Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to all our senior high school constellation of stars na mga future entrepreneurs. Live ta diri sa Facebook at DepEd tayo Tangub and Astral Academy. I am teacher Genevieve from Tangub City National High School.
And I am teacher Sheila from Mayor Alfonso Tan High School. We are your teacher facilitators for today.
Okay, learners, prepare your self-learning materials for entrepreneurship subject as we are going to discuss topics for this week activity.
Okay, learners are all ready? So we hope that everything is in place now.
Alright, so today let's learn another topic in entrepreneurship course, and our competency is discuss the value or supply chain in relation to the business. So this is very important to learn because it helps you understand the concept of value or supply chain, that as an entrepreneur, there's a need for you to fulfill customers and product requests. And it will also help you to create competitive advantage of your business in your market.
So again, learners, after the lesson, you will be able to discuss value, supply chain in relation to the business.
That's right. So before we'll start on learning on how to discuss the value and supply chain, we will give you first its concept.
Okay, so let's begin with the value chain. Okay, learners, when we talk about a value chain, this is a process in which a company adds value to its raw materials, of course, to produce products eventually sold to our consumers.
Yes, and this would be a step-by-step business model for transforming a product or service from idea to reality.
Okay, so when we talk about, again, value chain, it increases the efficiency of the business so that customers can receive the product with the most value added at the lowest possible cost. So meaning to say, according to Michael A. Porter, who introduced the concept of chain, in his concept students of a value chain, Porter splits a business activities into two categories. So we have in there primary and support.
So those are the two activities of value chain. Okay. The primary activities consist of 5 components.
Yes, and all are essentials for adding value and creating competitive advantage.
Okay,
So sana siya, ma'am?
right. Ang primary activities na nasa 5 siya ka components. So which are, the first one is the inbound logistics. So what is this inbound logistics? This inbound logistics deals with receiving, kumbaga pag-receive sa raw materials sa imuha, and then the storing. So giun sa pag-store o pag-warehouse sa raw materials, gina-take care yun nimo para mas ang quality sa raw materials mas ma-preserve nimo, and it is being distributed to of inputs to the processing department or to the manufacturing departments. Okay, so another is manufacturing operation. This is the second step, di ba? Step by step man siya. So second step is the manufacturing operation. So this deals with the conversion of inputs. Kumbaga ang inputs referring to our raw materials, diba? Then into finished product. So from here, we will add it will add value po siya for the quality of the products na gina-produce, di ba? When it comes to the packaging, the product design, the features of a certain product. Okay, para mahimo siyang finished output or finished product. Okay, another is outbound logistics. So what is this all about? So it is concerned with the collection or the storage and distribution of products or service to the customers. So what is the flow of distribution? So it includes the activities to distribute the final product to the consumer. Unsa man siya pamaagi, ways and means of distributing the products to the consumer. So mo siya for the outbound logistics. Okay, another is marketing and sales. So for this, it involves activities that create awareness among the general public regarding the product. Say for example, advertising your product or promoting your product to the target market or to the consumers, and
Alright.
the pricing strategy. Unsa ang imong pamaagyan na it will add value. Okay, kay nga naman when advertising the product, depende na yung mag-unsa yung pag-advertise through social media baka ha, kung sa may mas accessible sa mga consumers.
So,
Diba na?
yes, so many to say learners, di ari mo sulod ang atong strategies and techniques on how you are going to market your product. So, say for example, for now, for our generation today, our
Yes.
trending here is, kung nakabantay mo sa Facebook is kanang ukay-ukay, they are doing the TikTok while they are selling their products.
pamaagi,
Yes, and
strategy
that's
on how
what
to-
we call techniques, strategies, how to get or how to cope up your
The
attention of your
the
buyers.
buyers.
So, mo
Alright.
na giingon learners na bisan pa siguro og unsa kalami ug unsa kanindot ang imong product, if you don't know how to advertise, how to promote your product,
Yes,
and then
that's
maglisod na gyud ka pamaligya ana. But it doesn't mean nga dili mahalin, but nakadepende pud siya. Not depende pero mas maayo kung kahibalo gid pud ta more market sa ato ang
Kaya
product.
nakabantay ka sometimes di ba na mo ato sa tong balay nga ma-promote silang product. So kung dili pa gani siya establish ang imong product kasagara mo hatag silang sample. Okay? Muhatag silang sample.
So
Part
that's
of the
also their
promotion
that's
of
also their
your
strategies or
product para
techniques.
ma-well know ng imong product.
Yes.
It adds value. Okay. Another is services. Unsa ni nga pamaagi? All those activities that increase the value of product or the services like unsa man siya programs nga mo maintain ang products and enhance the consumer experience. So sa experience ni motor kung mupalit ka din na nga sa bakery unsa ba ka ha, unsa experience nimo how about sa mga sales lady nga nag-entertain sa imuha, so it matters, di ba? It adds value. That is why sa atong locality na aman certain mabantayan no nga nay bake shop din na maingog balik-balik thank you so much balik-balik, so it adds value. Kumbaga mo patronize ang imong buyers or imuhang consumer magbalik-balik sa imuha tungod sa imuhang service na kina-offer sa ilaha. Okay? How about the maintenance or repair? If ever ang imuhang product is kanang cellphone, di ba? If na siya guba or some defect nga, na siya pwede siya na siya warranty or we can repair that. So that's it. That's add service or value to your product or your buyers or customers.
Okay, because they are kuan si tawag ani ang ilahang gina-offer man is services. So it is
services
expected.
or kuan,
Yes,
product.
but cellphone you have to give the services na ayuhon gid siya to repair.
Okay.
Okay, but again and again learners, if you are going to kuan mo build og mga ginagmay nga business, of course it is much better if you are going to kana bitang ihatag ang tarong na
Yes.
serbisyo sa imuhang
Good
mga
service.
customers. Kay customers always right according to them,
yes,
right?
good relation to
Yes.
the buyers.
So that is why if dili ta mamili og customer, that's it. If
Pinaka-importante.
yes, so much better if you are going to
Consider, di ba?
consider or give your service nga dili lang sa ingon nga panglantaw lang siya.
That's
Okay?
it. Okay.
So next we have here our support activities. So these activities learners help the primary activities and of course include procurement, technology development, human resource management, and infrastructure.
All right. So for this support activity, learners, the primary activities will not be possible without this support activities. Nga naman sa may na-include ani, 'di ba, procurement. So sa primary activities gina deals dito nga kanang nag-start ang iyahang activity during receiving or storing your raw materials. Wala na emphasize dito kinsa imo procure, di ba? Kinsa man sila ang mo procure sa product or mo palit sa product. Pila kabuk ang imong supplier, di ba? It matters kung pila ang imong suppliers kay ngano man. Kay if ever dili available ang isa ka supplier, so napay lain nga mo supply sa imuha. Okay? To avoid delayed of the manufacturing of your product. Another is technology development. So this technology development will also support activity, part of value chain. Kay ngano man, kay dapat you do not have to believe behind to the technology that we have nowadays, di ba? So dili ta mapabilin sa karaan nga pamaagi nga mga equipments akong gamiton. Dapat inclined ta mo adapta sa ato ang kanang bag-o nga technology.
Because in technology, mas daghan ta og magama manggod nga
The
kuan.
quality of the products
Yes.
matters also. Alright, so another is the human resource management. This referring to a staffing, di ba? Kung baga mag-assign kag skillful nga mga tao that will man to the operation of the production, from the production of product, the output inputs rather to the delivery to the customers. Okay, another is the infrastructure, so that will add also kanang value kay ngano man kanang bali ang for example kung nakay restaurant tapos ang imuhang building is dili siya kumbaga dili kay siya nindot tan-awon, kumbaga pagkaon naman na imong gibaligya, so that's it. Dapat the sanitation, the building, the structure dapat accessible siya, dapat nindot siya tan-awon sa mga buyers or mga consumers nga mo kuana na siya.
If restaurant ang imuhang negosyo, you have to consider the cleanliness. Yes.
Sanitation
Mao na siya kay.
building.
Remember na mga pagkaon man ang imuhang gipang serve
That's
ana. So
it.
dapat neat and clean, and aside from that,
Alright.
the sanitation is very
so,
important.
dapat kung if ever unsa man nga klase ang imuhang negosyo, dapat accessible pud siya dito sa imuhang mga buyers or consumers para dali siya. So what is the support activities? It is to help the primary activities more efficient. So muna giingon ganina nga dili siya ma-realize ang primary activities without the support activities. Kisa may muman ato nga operation. Okay? So when you increase the efficiency of any of the 4 support activities, it benefits at least one of the primary activities. These support activities are generally denoted as overhead cost on a company's income statement. Kumbaga sa business na siya, income statement will matters. Okay, so dito siya ma-post dito sa overhead cost sa statement of comprehensive income sa business or sa company.
That's
Okay.
right. Okay, so according to Porter, that value chain is important to maximize the value at each specific point in a firm's processes.
Alright. Sige, as an entrepreneur, to be able to maximize the value, it begins with determining the customer's request. Unsa mga requirements sa mga customers to have that product. Okay, how does a value chain work? Okay, through customer's request, the entrepreneur can create a prototype product. Okay, kumbaga product testing ni siya that fit to customer's request. That will kanang respond the need of your consumers.
Okay, so right there, and then the entrepreneur will work through value chain analysis. Of course, learners, to analyze internal firm activities. In this way, a business activity can perform and create a product that satisfies customers' request.
Yes.
So once the activities are analyzed, of course, a business can use the results to evaluate ways to improve its competitive advantage.
Okay, that is
Siya
very
nakanindot.
important to analyze the value chain. So what is this competitive advantage? So this is what sets your business apart from competitors. Kumbaga kung asa ka nakaposition sa market, surrounded by the competitors. Okay, to develop an advantage, you'll need to have a clear idea of your target market or katoy mga potential market. If you're an entrepreneur who's interested in clearly defining your business target, audience, and market, be sure to find the ideal niche market, baka position market, for the launching or selling your products.
Alright, so of course, you also need to know the benefit of your product produced to the target market, and so you can add value to your product.
That's it. So, what the relationship of the primary activities and the support activities? So, it will also represent all the internal activities a firm engages to produce goods and services. So, kung ang value chain is form of primary activities, diba? That add value to final product directly. So, makita yun mo ang iyahang value. Kung baga, unsay quality sa product, so makita nimo yung features, automatic, directly. Ang support activities that add value indirectly, kay dili man nimo siya makita. So mo na siya ang relationship between the two, primary and the support activities.
Okay, so and we have also under the support activities, procurement plays a crucial role in a company as it how and when to use the raw materials in production at the lowest possible way. So scheduling of the orders and of course the
Yes.
distribution of finished products to the consumers are the major responsibilities that the entrepreneur may look into. So these are learners the activities in the supply chain, and that represents all the steps required of course to get the product to the customer. So remember, we have in there the scheduling of orders and the distribution. Mo gina siya
Of the finished
yes.
products. Okay. So for goods manufacturers, mga magbuhat, mga product, mag-create sa mga product, okay, value chain is consist of research and development. Kinahanglan na siya pangitaon og unsa gyud ang product design na gusto sa mga market, sa mga consumers. Okay, so you have to do through research and development. Okay, the raw materials purchased and production, the sales and the marketing, the delivery and service customer relations.
All right, and a value chain learners is a broader in scope than of course is supply
Broader man siya. Kay
chain.
unsa na si supply chain? It is a portion or a subset of a value chain that focuses on the physical movement, kumbaga physical movement ang product padulong no of materials and goods and the related flows of information and financial transaction. Physical movements, it talks about the kuan kanang channel of distribution of the products from the raw materials to the consumer delivery.
Okay, so we have in there the examples of supply chain activities include farming, you have refining, designed, we have also manufacturing, packaging, and transportation. So, muna siya examples.
Yes, for the supply chain. So, why is it the company or the business will develop the supply chain management? Anong kinalan man siya? Okay, the business or the companies develop supply chains so they can reduce their cost, di ba? Para magamay ang ilahang gasto and remain competitive in the business landscape.
All right, so this supply chain is described as a tool of business and transformation which minimizes cost and maximizes customer satisfaction by providing the right product at the right time, at the right place, and of course, at the right price. So conversely, learners, value chain is a way of getting a competitive advantage through which a company can beat its competitors along with fulfilling customers' requirements.
That's it. So that's for the concept of supply, value, and value chain. Okay, so learners, so we are now going to have a sample kung saan nyo pag-discuss si value o si supply chain. Okay, so it's I know that you have already your business, proposed business because kay na naman ta sa week 7. So you have your business, you have your product, identified na siya for your plan. Okay, so this is how you're going to discuss the value or supply chain and relation to business. So for example, na ako ko'y bakery business. So, na ko'y business bake shop. Okay. We have here a sample guide nga nasa inyong EaselM nga that will guide you on how to discuss.
Sample questions.
Yes. Sorry.
It's-
Sample question rather. Okay, so first one is how many suppliers do I need to have and why? Okay, so my discussion is I need to have more suppliers to ensure the raw materials available if needed in order not to compromise the efficiency of production and also the distribution of products to the customers. So, I can also select the best quality of raw materials with lowest cost. That's for the first guide question. The answer of the first guide question. Another is, how will I add value of the raw materials to convert into finished product? Okay, so this time, Okay, naman ko'y bake shop, no? Ako amang bake shop kung ginamasihan. Dapat i-fit in na to sa itong negosyo. Okay, I will add value by storing the raw materials in a warehouse with required temperature for safekeeping and preserving of inputs or the raw materials. Okay, then I will adapt new technologies like machinery or equipment for the manufacturing of my bread, no? Or kanang product to guarantee the efficiency and the quality of the finished product. And then I will launch advertisements of my products through different social media. Okay. Social media platform that crafted with the help of my skillful employee. Okay? So another is I have a customers-oriented sales force for my buyers' satisfaction. Okay? That is how you're going to discuss value or supply chain with the use of your proposed business. Okay? So this time, learners, in your activity, please take a look on your self-learning materials. So, nasa yung activity sheets. All you have to do is to discuss value or supply chain in relation to your proposed business. Okay, so we have here the rubrics for scoring. Okay, first one is the content. So you're going to have the content. Skillfully understand and picked up information in the discussion. Okay, another is organization. Skillfully organize complex ideas, concepts, and information in discussing value or supply chain in relation to business. So that's for the rubrics for scoring. All right, so senior high school constellation of stars, we hope that you acquire knowledge on the topics being shared to all of you.
Alright, so stay tuned, learners, because later on we are going to take up another subject, which is the 3 I's: inquiries, investigation, and immersion, after, of course, our short break. Again, this is Astral Academy Cyber School.
The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok.
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Civil School.
All right, dear learners, today we will be discussing and understanding ways to collect data. And of course, for our learning competency for today, at the end of the lesson, learners are expected to describe adequately sampling technique. Okay, now learners, why are representative sample important? Because as they ensure that all relevant types of people are included in your sample and that the right mix of people are interviewed. So meaning to say, if your sample isn't representative, it will be subject to kuan siya kanang bias or yes. So mo nang kinahanglan matarong nato siya kuha sa sample. Okay? So to start, let us define first population and sample. So what is the meaning of population and sample in a given study? So you have in there, population of course refers to the totality of individuals or subjects that is the main focus of a scientific query. Or, ma'am, when we say a population, it is actually a group of individuals who have the same characteristics. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so learners, when we say sample, contains a few members of the population. So they were taken to represent the characteristics or traits of the whole population.
All right, so in population, class can be small or large depending on what group would you like to study. So in practice, of course, researchers select target population or the sampling frame, or these are the group of individuals with the some common defining characteristics that, of course, the researchers can identify and study. All right.
Great.
So, what's the example, ma'am?
For example, in the population of the all senior high school students in schools division, we can have the target population. So, we will be the grade 12 senior high school students only in your school, diba? And within this target of population, class research then select only a portion of this to be studied. Okay, since we conduct a research or a study, with rarely possible to collect data from every person in your target population. So, it's a very tedious class.
All right. Okay, so that is why, class, we only select portion or
Yes.
part of the population that, of course, represents the population from which it was selected. So, meaning to say, kani siya nga example is referred to as our sample. For instance, again, ma'am, so you might select a sample from your target population of grade 12 senior high school students in your school. So, you may do it randomly or non-randomly using the probability and non-probability sampling techniques. Okay, so now class, there are two categories of sampling. Okay, so the first in there, you have the probability or random sampling. So unsa man na siya, ma'am? In every member of the population has the chance of being selected. Okay, so in here, of course, the researchers select individuals or samples from the population who are representative of the study. So meaning to say, this is the most regular form of sampling and is mostly applicable siya, learners, in quantitative research. Why? Because kay ang investigator can claim that the sample is representative of the population and as such can make generally version to the population. But you know what, learners, in reality it is not always possible to use probability sampling in educational research. Instead, ang atoang researcher or researchers can use in non-probability sampling.
So, kaning non-probability, non-random sampling, ang sampling group members are selected in non-random manner. So therefore, not each population has a chance to participate in the study. Like involving participants who volunteer to be the studied only, and non-random sampling learners is often used by the qualitative
research.
researchers or in the qualitative research. Okay, so they are not interested in generalizing the findings to a population, but only
Describing,
a
yes,
small
group of participants in a study. Mga example, di ba? From a population to a sample. Mag-select lang ta. Okay, so now learners, we will start the four simplest and of course basic type of sampling techniques. First, we have in there the simple random sampling. So, unsa ni siya? And every member of the population has a known and equal chance. Okay? So, gi-emphasize na to has known and equal chance of being selected in the sample. So, bisan pa siguro og pinakakatapusan ka nga barangay or pinakaulahi ka or pinakaulahi nga letter ang imuhang name or unsa pa na siya, you have the chance. Yes. Equal chance of being selected in the sample. So, yes, para dili po ka bias here. Right. So, drawing randomly from a list of the populations, pwede siya names from a hat, okay? Or using a matrix of random numbers. Or pwede po siya fishbowl, ma'am, kanang mga pangalan nila ibutang. Yes. Yes, or lottery system. Kana siya bunot-bunot para fair ang tanan, para walang bias. Okay? Simple, yes. So, you have an example in there. So, say for instance, so kung mag-describe ta, in anion na to, no, here. So, this is an example. You want to select a simple random sample of 100 employees of company X. So, of course, you're going to assign a number to every employee in the company database from 1 to 100. And you are going to use random number generator to select 100 numbers.
Familiar kayo na to na, no?
Oh, good. Okay. So, next, ma'am, is
another is systematic sampling. So, what is a systematic sampling? Okay, when we say systematic, from the name itself, meron po tayong system or ordering scheme na pina-follow or technique na ito. So, it is similar to simple random sampling. So, but it is usually slightly easier to conduct. So, dali na kayo siya i-conduct. That every member of the population is listed with a number. Okay, but instead of randomly generating numbers, individuals are chosen at regular intervals.
Yes, pwede siya, no? Kanag 2, yun naman 4, by 5, yes.
So, muna siya systematic random sampling. Okay, example learners, all employees of the company are listed in alphabetical order. So, from the first 10 numbers, you randomly select a starting point. So, asa ka mag-start?
So, nag-start siya 6.
Number 6.
Yes.
Number 6 kuno ka mag-start. From number 6
onwards,
every 10th person on the list is selected. So that it's
6, 12, yes, 26,
and we have
36, and so on. Okay. Ang tod nga moabot na ka sa sample of 100 people. Okay, sama na siya. So, next, learners, we have in there another type of probability. So, unsa ni siya nga klase nga type of probability? As we have stratified random sampling.
Yes.
So, unsan siya stratified? Kung makadungog mo aning mga words, mga langga, diha gyud nato na siya makita sa ato ang research. Naapod na siya sa kuan, ma'am, no? Sa atong giingon, ma'am, sa
statistics and
statistics, yes.
So,
Naapod na siya sa ato ang research. So, nganong na ano siya sa research kay apil man siya sa ato ang
for the quantitative,
yes.
di ba?
For quantitative, yes, of course. So, you have in there stratified random sampling. So, this is a process in which 13 subgroups or strata are selected for the sample in the same proportion. So, as they exist in the population, of course, in stratified sampling, ang researchers divide or what we call stratify the population on some specific characteristics. So, for example, pwede siya gender or grade level. It can be a stratum in a particular study. Okay? And then, of course, using this simple random sampling, the ato ang kuan sa tawag ani.
Researcher.
Yes, ang researcher is pwede siya select, yes, of course. Select samples from each subgroup or stratum sa population. So, inani ang mahitabo. If gender is the stratum of the study, hence, we need to get the female and male respondents in the study. Pero, ma'am, ano siya pangutana, ma'am? Kanus amang kita mag-stratify? Yes.
Ba? When?
When or kailan tayo mag-stratify?
Okay, so we use stratification when population reflects an imbalance in characteristics of the sample.
Yes.
Okay, assuming that they are more males than female in the population. So hence, as simple random sampling from this population, would you like clear results in the selection of the more males than females? So maybe even females. So to correct this, researcher used stratified random sampling, since stratification ensures that the stratum desired will be represented in
the sample and
the same proportion exists in the population.
Okay, so example here. So the company has 800 female employees and 200 male employees. So imuha ni siya, no? So you want to ensure that the sample reflects the gender balance of the company. So you sort the population into two strata based on gender.
Okay.
Yes. And then you're going to use random sampling on each group. So selecting 80 women and 20 men, so which give you representative sample of 100 people. Okay, so speaking of sample size class, the most commonly used way to get the sample size is the Sloven's formula. Okay, uban sa inyo is familiar na ani, but we have another session on how to compute this Sloven's formula, ma'am. Kay murag mo abot na yun next time. But for now is mag-focus ata sa description or describing about or the methods of sampling techniques. Okay, so now next up is we are going to discuss the different non-probability sampling techniques. So remember, learners, the non-probability or non-random sampling learners often use by qualitative research. So since they are not interested in generalizing findings to a population, but only in describing a small group of participants in a study, so in here, of course, the researcher selects participants because they are willing and available to be studied or based on the purpose of the research. So in this case, kanisha ma'am, in this case, the researcher cannot say with confidence that the individual is representative of the population. So ma'am, magsugod ta sa first nato nga,
So
yes.
the first non-probability sampling techniques is the convenience sampling. So
Unsa na
what is
siya, ma'am?
convenience sampling? It is selecting a group of individuals who are conveniently available for study. So, or easy to recruit by a researcher. For example, you may ask any willing learner to answer the online survey or this using the convenience sampling. So this is also known as accidental opportunity or grab
Sampling. So nata example ma'am, para
Examples
gyud
are-
makita nila ang description
You
ana
are
niya.
researching opinions about student support services in your university or college ba kaha. So, after each of your classes, you ask your fellow students to complete a survey on the topic. So, this is a convenient way to gather data. But, as you only surveyed students taking same classes as you at the same level, the sample is not representative of all the students at your university.
Mao na siya. So convenient siya no kay nga naman
Convenient siya.
after class man
Dili na
niya.
kayo siya
Yes.
makapangayo sa data.
Dili kayo ingon nga gilisod-lisod at
Lisod-lisod.
convenient. Mao na siyang convenient time.
Most
Okay.
convenient time.
So naata di ani class an alternative convenience sampling is snowball sampling. So kabanta man ng snowball kung atong tapukon ng snow no from pinakagamay hangtod kung ato na siyang tapukon magkadako. So one sample leads to more of the same kind of sample. So that is why learners, this is also referred to as change referral sampling. So kanisang snowball sampling, the researcher asks participants to identify others to become members of the sample. So mao ni siya class ang example. You are researching the experience of homeless people in your city. So since kay wala man kay listahan sa mga homeless city, So, ang probability, ana, kanang imuhang sampling is not possible. Kaya nga naman, wala man kay listahan, di ba? Karon.
Mga homeless person.
Yes, kung wala man kay listahan. So, ang imuhang sampling is imposible kayo.
Okay.
Karon kay since you meet one homeless person along the way as you collect and administer your instruments and you meet one person who agrees to
Yes.
participate in the research and you put her in contact with other homeless. So meaning to say, homeless people that she knows in the area that she is residing. So, iya tong gigamit no para makakonect na rin sa mga homeless people di sa ilahang area.
Wala siya
So
example.
in here, yes, from wala siya listahan, hangtod nga na-meet niyang isa, hangtod nga nakuan or snowball. Mo na siya techniques yung pagkuha siyang sampling. And in here, of course, the researchers sample builds and become larger as the study continues, just like the snowball. So mo nang description sa tuang snowball sampling. Okay,
Another
next.
is a purposive sampling. So what is this purposive sampling? In here, the researchers believe using their judgment to select a sample that they believe. Diba? So based on the prior information, will provide the data they needed. Okay, the researcher chooses the sample based on who they think would be the appropriate
For the study. Okay. So naputay examples di ani ma'am, no? Two
For the
examples
example,
actually.
in a study involving diabetes. Ang sabi na diabetes, sakit ni siya.
Yes.
The researcher will only choose diabetic persons. Okay, so this is an example of purposive sampling.
From the word purpose.
Nasa
Ang iyahang
purpose.
kwan is with the
Ang
purpose. Kay
iyahang
dili man
study.
ka pwede mo interview sa tao nga wala pud nakaranas og
Okay,
diabetics
that's
or
it. That's just
diabetes,
purpose.
right? So meaning to say here, samples are chosen based on the goals of the study. So they may be chosen based on their knowledge and expertise of the expertise of the study being
Okay.
conducted, or if they satisfy the traits or conditions set by the researcher. So halimbawa, learners, kapag gumagawa tayo ng study in the field of psychology, of course, mas pipiliin natin ang mga respondents na may knowledge in that particular field,
Yes.
right? So dili ta pwede mo interview lang ato og wala sila knowledge or wala sila expertise or wala sila experience, okay? And of course, if we are going to talk about education,
Okay, so this
of
is
course,
education,
yes,
ma'am.
education. Kakausapin natin po yung mga, it could be the principal
Okay.
or the school's division superintendent or teachers na may
Teachers,
experience
mga
in
staff na
yes
nag-work sa
yes of
school.
course, or teachers or any na may experience
Yes.
in teaching or in the field of teaching. Okay, so again, so that's an example of unsa na siya ma'am, that's an example of atong ginatawag first snowball is purposive example. Yes. So again, dapat is yung taong may experience in the field of education. So lastly, learners, we have in there quota sampling, from the word quota. Okay? So the number of samples are decided by the researcher and what we call this one? Decided by the
Selection.
researcher and selection also made out of availability of the respondents. So meaning to say, ang iyahang researcher ensures equal or proportionate representation of the subjects. Depende siya sa which rate is iyang i-consider sa base of the quota.
Yes, and for
Yes.
example, in a population, you want to select 60% men and 40% women. So in this case, you will select samples randomly until you reach 60%
men and
40%
women. Okay. So maoto siya, learners, ang ato ang mga techniques sa sampling
how
no
to
method. Yes.
describe, di ba?
Yes, and how to describe. So,
Yes,
gipanghatag na namo tanan ang mga
Yes,
description
mga
ato
techniques,
niya.
so mga ways
Yes.
on how to kanang pagkuha og data.
Very good. Okay. So now, learners, for our activity this afternoon, of course, kay naa naman ta sa week 7, ma'am,
Yes,
as what
week
you had said a while ago. Of course, naa na mo giandam gyud, nakapili na mo sa inyong topic. Yes. Naa na ta diani sa part nga collecting datas, di ba?
Okay.
So karon ang inyong activity is you have to describe one method lang na inyuhang gigamit sa inyuhang research
Research study.
paper. Yes, inyuhang research study. So, naa sa inyuhang modules or sa inyuhang SLM, naa diha nakabutang ang mga rubrics. Okay? So, just
Yes.
follow the rubrics given in your printed SLM. Okay? So, thank you so much.
Alright, so please take a look in your second attendance marker
Marker.
for the day for the senior high school. Okay, so pasalamat sa executive producer, Sir Gas CP, the production team, learners. This has been Genevieve Pikit-Pikit.
And this is also Teacher Sheila. And this is your Astral Academy Cyber School.